Section 1.1 is dealing with variables and expressions. So, first thing we're going to talk about is writing a mathematical expression. And there are a few things we use. We use variables, which are symbols used to represent unspecified numbers or values. And the symbols that we think of, things like x, y, sometimes we might use b, we might use letters that represent a particular value like length and width. Sometimes we even use a Greek letter that happens to be theta. So lots of different symbols or symbols or variables that would represent numbers. Okay, don't forget to pause if you need more time than I give you to write down. Feel free to pause anytime. Then we have algebraic expressions. Now these consist of one or more numbers and variables, so we can use letters, we can use numbers, and one or more arithmetic operations. So an operation is addition, subtraction, multiplication. So again, an algebraic expression, it can consist of just one number. So 3 is an algebraic expression. It consists of a number and a variable, 2x. There is an operation here. The operation would be multiplication. Or it could be much more complicated, like 4y plus 2x divided by z. All of these are algebraic expressions. Again, pause if you need more time to write. So, let's talk about multiplication as an operation. There are several ways to express multiplication. You have all used the x for a multiplication symbol, 3 times 2. We've also used a dot for 3 times 2, and we've used parentheses for 3 times 2. Now that we're doing algebra and we're going to be using x as a variable more often, I want us to get a step away from using the x as a multiplication symbol. We're going to stick with the dot, 3 times 2, or the parentheses, 3 times 2. Keep in mind also that if we're multiplying a number times a variable, we don't have to put the dot or the parentheses in there because it's just understood to be multiplication. Okay? So, factors are the quantities that we are multiplying. So the factors here are 3 and 2. The factors here are 3 and x, the things being multiplied together. If we have something more complicated, like 3 times x plus 1, the multiplication is here. That's addition, so that's not, those two things separately are not factors. It's 3 times x plus 1. So 3 is a factor, and x plus 1 all together is a factor. So factors can be more than just a simple number or a single letter. The product is the result. So if I'm multiplying 3 times 2, 3 is a factor, 2 is a factor, the result, or the number 6, is the product. In the example I used a minute ago, 3 times x plus 1, we already said that 3 is a factor, x plus 1 is a factor. The product, or the result, would be 3x plus 3, and that would be my product. So the terms factor and product are going to be very important. Okay, another thing we're going to do in this section is changing verbal expressions to algebraic expressions. This should all be stuff we've done before, so it shouldn't be any surprises. So taking the words 8 more than a number n. More than means to add. So 8 plus some number n. Let's try another one. The difference, hopefully you know that difference means subtract, of 7 and 4 times the number x. So the difference is going to be between these two expressions. Now this expression is more than just a single item. So the difference of 7 and 4 times the number x would be 4x. The difference is subtract. So the difference of 7 and what am I going to subtract? 4 times the number x. 1/3 the size of the original area. Of is a keyword for multiply, so 1/3 of a would be 1/3 times a. We could also write this as a over 3. In other words, 1/3 of something is the same as dividing it into 3 parts. So again, pause if you need to. Get all this written down and make sure you understand. If you have questions, put a question mark in your notes so that you can ask me at the beginning of class, because we're doing several little topics today. Algebraic expressions with powers. Let's talk about the 3 words: power, base, and exponent. A power indicates the entire expression. So x to the n is a power. 3 squared is a power. Y to the 4th is a power expression. The base and the exponent are pieces of that power. So the base of this expression is x. The exponent is n. So the base is the piece at the bottom. The exponent is what we are raising it to. So look at 3 squared. What would the base be? The base would be the 3. The exponent of that power is 2. Y to the 4th. See if you can find the base and the exponent. The base is y. The exponent is the 4. So what are we going to do with these powers? Write and evaluate expressions with powers. So first of all, writing an expression. So we've got 2 of them, problem A and B. Problem A, the product, that means multiply, of 7 and m to the 5th power. So I'm going to multiply 7 times m to the 5th power. And since this is a number and a variable, I don't need the dot for multiplication. I can just write 7m to the 5th. The difference, that means subtraction of what 2 things? The difference of 4 and x squared. So 4 subtract x squared. So that's writing an expression. Let's talk about evaluating now. If I evaluate a power, 2 cubed means 2 times itself 3 times. 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. So 2 cubed is 8. 6 to the 4th power. This might take a little bit more work. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. 6 4 times. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. And then I have to multiply by 6 one more time. 1,296. So that's evaluating an expression with a power. So again, most of this you should have seen before. If you have any questions at all, please write them on the side of your paper so that you can ask me at the beginning of class. That's it for the first section.